I wasn't ready to see her again. 30 years is a long time to bury something. Long enough, I thought, to forget how someone's eyes used to pull the air right out of a room. But life has a brutal sense of humor. When our kids, hers and mine, ended up in the same freshman orientation group at Columbia, everything came flooding back. It started with an email, a parents' mixer. I clicked the RSVP link, still clueless. Still naive. The event was held in one of those ivy-covered lounges with jazz playing softly and wine no one really liked. My son, Theo, had gone off with some dorm mates. I was nursing a drink when someone tapped my shoulder and said my name like it was a prayer and a curse. Daniel? I turned and there she was. Elise. Her hair shorter now, speckled with silver, but still undeniably her. The last time I saw her, I was 23 and wrecked. She was pregnant. I didn't know. She never told me. We stood there for a second, stunned, before she broke into a slow, cautious smile. Didn't expect to see you here. I managed to nod. Likewise. And then silence, like 30 years, collapsed into a breath. Your son? She asked, gesturing to my name tag. I nodded again. Yours? Leah, she said. She's amazing. Too smart for her own good. Like her dad. I froze. I wanted to ask, am I him? But I didn't. Not yet. Elise looked away, just slightly, the way someone does when they're building a dam against old emotions. We should talk, she said. Yeah, I replied. We should. That night, I couldn't sleep. Theo was out again, some dorm welcome party, and I kept replaying her voice, the shape of her words. The ghost of a question gnawed at me. Was Leah mine? Could she be? Elise and I had been everything and nothing back then. High school sweethearts turned college dropouts. I was going to be a musician, she was chasing journalism. We imploded the summer of '93. She said I had no future. I said she didn't believe in me. I moved to Seattle. She disappeared. No social media, no calls, no updates. And now here she was, sipping a glass of white wine like she hadn't gutted me once. 2 days later, Elise and I agreed to meet for coffee off campus. Neutral territory. She brought pictures. Not just of Leah, of everything. Her life. A marriage that ended in 2010. A few articles she published before switching to nonprofit work. I brought nothing. Just the past. And questions. So many questions. Why didn't you tell me? I finally asked. Elise blinked, and for a second she looked like she was going to cry. But she didn't. Because you left, Daniel. And I didn't know how to bring you back without destroying myself. I didn't know what to say to that. She wasn't wrong. But damn, it still hurt. So, Leah? I asked. Her lips parted. Then closed. Then opened again. She thinks her dad is Michael. My ex. He raised her. My stomach twisted. But he's not her biological father, is he? Elise just looked at me. And then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it, she whispered, no. You are. And that's when everything in my world tilted sideways. I stood up, heart pounding so hard I thought it might shatter the windows. Elise grabbed my hand. Please. Sit. There's more. I sat. Because when someone tells you your daughter's been living a lie for 18 years, you sit. She doesn't know? I asked. She's never asked, Elise replied. But lately, she's been wondering. I can feel it. Why now? Because, she said, reaching into her bag, pulling out a worn envelope. Because Leah found this. She handed it to me. It was addressed in my handwriting. A letter I wrote to Elise the night I left town. Unsent. Unread. Until now. I never meant for her to find it, Elise whispered. But she did. And now her voice cracked. Now I think she's starting to ask the questions I've spent half my life avoiding. I opened the letter with trembling hands. I hadn't seen those words in 3 decades. And yet there they were, raw, pleading, broken. If there's even a chance that baby is mine, tell me. Please. I want to be there. I want to do this right. I love you. Elise watched me read it. And then she said 5 words that dropped like a bomb between us. She wants to meet you. The room was loud, but I couldn't hear anything over the thudding in my chest. Elise had set it up. She said Leah wanted to meet me, just talk, just coffee. She doesn't know the full truth yet, she'd warned. Only that you were important to me once. I didn't want to drop the paternity bomb without feeling it out. And now here I was, sitting at a corner table in a campus cafe that smelled like burnt espresso and student desperation, trying not to sweat through my shirt. She walked in 5 minutes late, and I swear time collapsed again. Leah. My daughter. She had my nose. My exact damn nose. I stood awkwardly. She smiled, polite, guarded. Elise followed behind but stopped at the door. I'll give you 2 a few minutes, she said. Like we were old friends. Or worse, strangers. Hi, Leah said, sliding into the chair across from me. I'm guessing you're Daniel. Yeah, Daniel Hayes. Right? My mom said you used to be a musician. I gave a small laugh. Tried to be. Now I own a music store. That's cool. So you and my mom. She trailed off. Her eyebrows raised slightly. High school. Then college. Then. I was young and dumb and left. That checks out, she said with a smirk that was pure Elise. God. I almost smiled. Almost? Look, I'm not sure what this is, she continued, stirring her iced coffee. Mom was being super vague. Said you were someone from her past. I found that letter. I had questions. She said you could answer some of them. I nodded. Yeah. I'll try. Are you my dad? Just like that. No build-up. No warning. Do you want the truth? That would be a good start. Yes. I am. Silence. The cafe noise seemed to disappear again, like someone pressed mute on the world. Leah stared at me, expression unreadable. And you just found out? 3 days ago. She blinked. Hard. So you didn't know? I wrote that letter because I wanted to know. But I left town before I got a reply. And your mom, she had her reasons. So she let Michael think he was my dad? He knew. And he was okay with that? He raised you. Loved you. That part's real, no matter how messy this is. She looked down, jaw clenched. I feel sick. I know. No. You don't. You got to live your life. You weren't the one lied to for 18 years. I didn't have an answer. There wasn't one. Just pain. Raw and gaping. I don't want anything from you, she snapped. Not money. Not a relationship. I just needed to know. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Of course. She stood up. Thanks for answering. I need to go. Leah, but she was already gone. Elise slipped into the seat she left behind. Her face was pale. That could have gone worse, she whispered. I shook my head. She hates me. She doesn't know you. Because you didn't let her. Elise flinched. You left. You didn't tell me I was a father. Because I didn't want to watch you resent her. I looked away. Too late for all of that now. Elise reached for my hand. I pulled it back. Don't. Her voice cracked. Daniel. I never stopped wondering if I'd done the right thing. I looked her dead in the eyes. You didn't. I got up and walked out. The next day, I skipped the parents' brunch. Theo texted asking where I was. I lied. Said I had a work emergency. I couldn't look at Elise. Couldn't risk bumping into Leah again, seeing that flash of recognition that you abandoned me glare. 2 days later, Elise called. I ignored it. Then the next call came at 2:14 a.m. I picked up out of reflex. Daniel, she said, her voice shaking. It's Leah. She was in an accident. A bad one. My heart stopped. What happened? Car hit her. She was crossing Amsterdam Avenue. She's in surgery. I was already getting dressed. Where is she? New York Presbyterian. I drove like a madman. My hands were trembling the entire ride. When I got to the hospital, Elise was pacing. She ran into my arms. I didn't push her away this time. She asked for you, she whispered. Before they took her in, she asked for you. Why? Because she read the whole letter. I stared at her. She found the second page. I blinked. There was a second page? Elise nodded. You wrote it and I never saw it until yesterday. She taped it to the fridge before she left that night. What did it say? Her voice was barely audible. That you'd love her even if she was never yours. And then, before I could process that, a nurse walked out of the ER doors and called my name. Mr. Hayes? Yes. She's asking for you. You can come in. I looked at Elise. She nodded. Go. I stepped through those doors not knowing what I'd find. But nothing could have prepared me for what Leah whispered when I sat beside her bed. Nothing could have prepared me for the sentence that shattered me completely. I always knew you were mine. I sat there next to Leah's hospital bed, gripping the edge of the chair so tightly my knuckles turned white. Machines beeped in quiet rhythm and her face was pale, bruised, stitched near the temple. But her eyes, my God, her eyes were open and staring right through me. I always knew, she whispered again, and the weight of those 3 words pulled the air out of the room. I didn't know how, she continued, her voice ragged, raw from surgery and oxygen tubes, but I felt it. Every time Mom talked about her past, there was this pause. Like she was hiding something. Like you were the thing she never got over. I didn't know what to say. What do you say to a daughter you've never known who somehow still knew you? I'm sorry, I said. That's all I have right now. Just, I'm sorry. She closed her eyes, and for a moment I thought she drifted off. But then quietly, why didn't you fight harder to stay? That question cut deeper than any blade. Because I was a coward, I admitted. Because I thought you didn't exist. Her eyes opened again. That letter was everything to me. You weren't supposed to see it. Maybe not, she whispered. But I did. And now I can't unknow. A nurse stepped in and asked me to leave, said she needed rest. Elise was outside in the hallway hugging herself. How is she asked. Awake. Angry. Scared. She asked for you first, Elise said again, eyes glistening. Not me. She doesn't hate you, I said. She's just been lied to. We both have. You don't understand, Elise said. It's worse than that. I stopped. What do you mean? She hesitated. Her lip trembled. There's something I didn't tell you. My stomach dropped. Now is really not the time for more secrets. I know, she whispered. But it's not about Leah. It's about Michael. Her stepdad. No, she swallowed hard. Her biological father. My body turned cold. What are you talking about? Daniel. I thought you were the father. I wanted you to be the father. But I was seeing someone else too. Briefly. Right after you left. I staggered back like she'd slapped me. You said I believed it was you, she said quickly. I wanted it to be you. But Leah did a test last year. A DNA kit. She got curious about her ancestry. My vision blurred. And her biological father isn't you. My knees buckled and I sat down hard on the hallway bench. You waited 30 years to tell me this? Elise was crying now. I didn't know how. I didn't even know about the test until last week. She did it and forgot about it. Results came months later. She told me right after she found the letter. I haven't even told her what it means yet. She still thinks it's you. I covered my face with my hands. Jesus Christ, Elise. Why now? Why drop this now? Because she's lying in there thinking you're her father, and you're not. And you're about to love her like she's yours. I stood dizzy, overwhelmed. Because she is mine. I don't care about blood. Elise reached for my arm, but I stepped away. Don't, I said. Just don't. I went outside. I needed air. I needed clarity. I needed to breathe without the truth collapsing on top of me. For 30 years, I thought I lost something I never had. Then for 3 days, I thought I had it back. And now? I didn't know what to feel. The next morning, Leah called me from the hospital. Her voice was stronger. Can you come by? She asked. There's something I need to ask you. I went. I had no idea what I'd say. I just knew I had to see her. I sat beside her again and she looked at me like someone who had already decided her truth. I asked Mom, she said. About the DNA test. I froze. She told you. Not everything. Just enough. But that's not what I wanted to ask you. What then? Her eyes locked onto mine. If you knew I wasn't biologically yours, would you still want to be my dad? I didn't hesitate. I already am. She smiled through tears. Good. Because I need you. My heart cracked wide open. Then she added, voice shaking, because Michael, the man who is my biological father, just showed up at the hospital. And he wants to talk. I didn't know what I expected when I walked back into that hospital room, but it wasn't him. Michael. The man Elise married, the man who raised Leah, the man I now knew wasn't me and still somehow was. He stood beside her bed, one hand in his coat pocket, the other loosely gripping a paper coffee cup. He looked older, thinner than I remembered from the one photo Elise had once shown me, graying temples, tense jaw. He turned as I entered. His eyes hit me like a wall. So, he said, voice low. You're Daniel. I nodded. Yeah. And you're Michael. He gave a small, bitter smile. We've both been lied to, huh? Elise was nowhere in sight, probably hiding in some corner of the hospital praying this moment wouldn't happen. Leah looked between us like a child caught in a tug-of-war she never agreed to play. Can we not do this here? She said softly. Please. I nodded and took a step back, but Michael didn't move. I think we have to do this, he said. You raised her, I offered. That matters. I didn't know she wasn't mine, he shot back. If I had known, would you have left? I asked, a little too sharply. His face hardened. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But I deserved the choice. She stole that from me. Leah looked away. Stop talking like I'm not here, she said. Both of you. Silence. Then Leah turned to Michael. Why now? She asked. Why are you here today? Because your mom called me last night, he replied. Told me the truth finally. Said you were hurt that this guy, he gestured to me, was playing dad. And I needed to know if you still wanted me. Her face crumpled. That's not fair. You left years ago. You barely even called. Because I thought I was protecting you. From a failed marriage. From more lies. From myself. You disappeared. Because I had to, he said. Because your mother and I were destroying each other. He turned to me. And you? What are you doing here? Playing hero? Trying to patch up a 30-year-old hole like you didn't dig it yourself? I didn't even know she existed, I snapped. Don't pretend you're some moral authority. You're here because Elise let you be. You had a choice, too, Michael growled. Don't paint yourself as the victim. You ran. So did you, I bit back. Only difference is, I'm here now. Leah's voice cut through us like ice. I don't care, she whispered, about either of you being right. I care that I've lived 18 years not knowing who I am, and now I've got two men trying to make me pick. Michael looked devastated. I'm not trying to make you pick. Aren't you? She said. You came here to claim something. But it's not yours to demand. She turned to me, eyes fierce. He showed up. He stayed. He didn't ask for proof. Greg looked gutted. Like her words stripped away every illusion he'd brought with him. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry for all of it. She nodded once. You should be. But I'm not here for you. I'm here to say this, I have a life. And you're not part of it. She walked past him. Then past me. But before she left, she turned and looked at me. You coming? I didn't hesitate. I stood and followed her. Michael didn't move. He just watched. Small. Defeated. Forgotten. That night, Leah and I sat on the porch of my apartment. No music. No talk. Just stars above and the faint hum of distant traffic. I asked her if she was okay. She nodded. I chose you. I meant it. I reached for her hand. She let me hold it. And in that silence, in that fragile grip, I knew something for certain. Blood might bind, but love is the thing that stays. The thing you choose. And sometimes love is the only truth that matters. I didn't even finish reading Elisa's message the first time. I dropped my phone halfway through it, my hands shaking too badly to scroll. I stared at the wall for a solid 5 minutes, heart thundering like a war drum, brain refusing to make sense of the words. I finally picked it up and read it again. Word for word. Daniel, please don't hate me. I didn't know how to tell you this earlier. I didn't even know the full truth myself until this morning. Leah's DNA test wasn't a match for you or Michael. Neither of you is her biological father. It was someone else. Someone I never even told her about. Someone I've barely admitted to myself. Do you remember Greg? Your roommate. Your friend. You left town the same week he left for Europe. I was angry. Hurt. You walked away and he stayed. And I was stupid. I was so stupid. It happened once. Just once. But Leah's results matched his family line. Not yours. Not Michael's. His. Greg is her father. I've been carrying this for 30 years. I convinced myself it didn't matter. That love was more important than blood. That if I believed hard enough, I could erase that night. That mistake. But the truth won't stay buried anymore. I haven't told Leah. I don't know how. I'm so sorry, Elise. I felt the air leave my lungs like I'd been kicked. Greg. My roommate. My best friend. Back then he was the golden boy, smarter, smoother, always a little too charming for his own good. He left town to backpack across Europe and I never saw him again. He wrote postcards. Then stopped. I thought nothing of it. People drift apart. I never knew. Never suspected. Annalise, she knew. Maybe not the biology, but she knew it wasn't me. And she let me sit in that hospital room, stare into Leah's eyes, feel the shape of love forming around something that wasn't even mine. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. I sat in my kitchen until night bled into morning, watching the same loop of memories, Elisa's trembling hands the day we first met again. Leah's voice in that cafe, so careful and brave. That second-grade music class, God, how could she remember that? I thought I'd hit the bottom already. I was wrong. 3 days passed. I didn't call Elise. I didn't call Leah. I couldn't. What was I supposed to say? Hey, you know how I told you I was your dad? Turns out I'm not even close. Turns out your mom lied to both of us and the guy who is your father probably hasn't thought about you in 30 years. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it. Leah was standing there, arms crossed, eyes sharp. I know, she said. The floor tilted. Elise told you? I asked, stunned. She shook her head. No. I figured it out. I reached out to the testing company, asked for deeper analysis. Family trees. I was curious. I had to know. I swallowed hard. Leah. I'm sorry. Don't, she said. Don't apologize for something you didn't do. This isn't your fault. I wanted to be your father. I still do. I know, she said. And that's why I'm here. I stepped aside. She walked into my house like she'd been doing it for years. She sat at the kitchen table where I just spent 3 days drowning in disbelief. I've decided something, she said. I don't want to meet Greg. I don't want to find him. I don't care who donated the biology. I was speechless. I've had 3 fathers, she said. One who raised me but lied, one who thought he was my father but wasn't, and one who left before I ever existed. None of them matter the way you do. I blinked. Why me? Because you showed up. Because you looked at me like I was real. Because you didn't ask for proof or paperwork. You chose me. And I choose you. I felt the tears coming and didn't stop them. She reached across the table, took my hand. Let's stop trying to fix the past, she whispered. Let's build something new. From this moment on. And then, for the first time in 30 years, I let go of the guilt. Of the what-ifs. Of the ache of Elise and the shadow of Greg and every missed birthday I never knew I missed. I'd like that, I said. More than anything. But just as I exhaled, just as peace finally seemed possible, my phone buzzed on the counter. A number I didn't recognize. I picked it up. The voice on the other end stopped my heart. Daniel? This is Greg. Daniel? This is Greg. The voice felt like a ghost scraping against my spine, one I hadn't heard in 3 decades but recognized instantly. My mouth went dry, Leah still sitting across from me, watching my expression curdle into disbelief. I stepped into the hallway, phone pressed tight to my ear. Greg? Why are you calling me? He let out a heavy sigh like he'd been holding his breath for 30 years. Elise called me. Told me I have a daughter. Said her name is Leah. My heart stuttered. My world had already turned sideways, and now the man who helped build the foundation of that collapse was back, wanting something. I kept my voice flat. What do you want, Greg? He paused. A beat. Then another. I want to meet her. I deserve to know her. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Deserve? You vanished. You slept with my girlfriend. You didn't even ask if she was pregnant. How exactly do you figure you deserve anything? His voice tightened. I didn't know, Daniel. I didn't know until last week. And I didn't know Elise was. He stopped himself. Good. I didn't want to hear him say the words. I wanted to hang up, to protect whatever fragile thing Leah and I had rebuilt, but I knew the truth. This wasn't mine to decide. Leah needed to know. She needed to choose. I walked back into the kitchen, phone trembling in my hand. She looked up at me like she already knew what was coming. That was him, wasn't it? She asked quietly. I nodded. Greg. She stared past me, silent. What does he want? He wants to meet you, I said, and I hated every syllable. She stood slowly, steadying herself on the edge of the table. Tell him to meet me at the park near campus. Tomorrow. Noon. And then she left. The next day was gray. Windy. Like the air itself couldn't sit still. We sat on a bench near the duck pond. Leah on one side. Me on the other. Between us, space? Heavy, uncertain space. Greg arrived exactly at noon. Slimmer than I remembered. His hair longer, eyes softer. Time had weathered him into something almost human. He walked up slowly, hands visible like approaching a wild animal. Leah stood. Greg? She said. Her voice barely more than air. He nodded. I'm your father. And then she did something I didn't expect. She slapped him. Hard. So hard it echoed off the trees. You don't get to say that. You weren't there. You weren't anything. I don't care what the test says. Biology doesn't make you a father. Showing up does. She turned to me, eyes fierce. He showed up. He stayed. He didn't ask for proof. Greg looked gutted. Like her words stripped away every illusion he'd brought with him. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry for all of it. She nodded once. You should be. But I'm not here for you. I'm here to say this, I have a life. And you're not part of it. She walked past him. Then past me. But before she left, she turned and looked at me. You coming? I didn't hesitate. I stood and followed her. Greg didn't move. He just watched. Small. Defeated. Forgotten. That night, Leah and I sat on the porch of my apartment. No music. No talk. Just stars above and the faint hum of distant traffic. I asked her if she was okay. She nodded. I chose you. I meant it. I reached for her hand. She let me hold it. And in that silence, in that fragile grip, I knew something for certain. Blood might bind, but love is the thing that stays. The thing you choose. And sometimes love is the only truth that matters.